Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon with Brandon One Pickups.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled that you are listening to our show. We feel like you're right here, like crowding the sofa with us.
Socially distant, though.
Yes, socially distant, crowding the sofa. I like it. Yes,
Having a
go
glass
ahead
of
and
whiskey.
reach down in between those cushions and see if you can find an M&M.
I bet there's some quarters there.
Right.
Yes. Well, Tony Baloney.
Fig Newton.
Yes. A fig Newton.
He's starting to dream of all the delicious things he could find out. Maybe I'll find
Pop
a fig
tarts.
Well, M&Ms are great because they have that shell to protect the chocolate for all those years it's in the couch.
There's that pork chop I left down in there. All right. Tony, what do we do on this show?
Oh, well, last I checked, we like to talk about gear, specifically boutique gear. Mm-hmm. Even more specifically, we like to talk to the builders and the movers and the shakers of the boutique gear industry. And that would be things like amplifiers, pedals, guitars, basses, accessories, all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
We like to get the story behind the story.
That's right.
And sometimes we like to do the 101 shows in which we learn about, basic things about the guitar that maybe not everybody knows.
That's true.
That's true.
Or speakers or amps or whatever.
All the things. Who do we have on the show tonight?
Louis Scutti from Scero Guitars.
Where are you calling from?
My shop / garage / sweatshop, Pueblo, Colorado.
Pueblo, Colorado.
Ooh,
beautiful area.
way
Beautiful
over
out
there.
Yeah.
God, you've apparently never been here.
I've been to Estes Park.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, then you have no reason to come through here. It's just the black hole of Colorado.
Well, I'm not going to touch that anyways. Okay. So, we're going to talk about Scero Guitars tonight. It's going to be really, really great. And hopefully, you guys don't mind, there's a little bit of background noise because he's working in his shop making awesome guitars for you guys. So, please bear with us with that. And we're going to be just fine. It's going to be a super fun time. We got lots to talk about. So let's get on with it. We have a few announcements that we want to hit. Number one, you know where this is coming from, Tony?
Road?
That's right, Rode, for providing our Rodecaster Pro, this awesome machine that is capturing our voices and helping make our podcast a reality. And if you need to make your podcast a reality, you might want to check one of these out. They are crazy affordable, totally portable. There's nothing else that rhymes with that word, so I'm not going to try. But, this is one of those things that when you get, sometimes it's kind of like maybe even like old multi-effects pedals. Like you buy it, that's it. That's all it's ever going to be. But these guys are really, really sharp with their technology because they're constantly changing updating it and not updating it because it's broken, but they're making it better. So they're adding new features. They're constantly doing that. They listen to the users of these things. It'd be great if this button was this color instead of this color. That makes sense. Let's try that. So it's pretty cool. Very solid product. Also, the Procaster mics, which of course we've been using for years and we love them. So thank you so much to Rode for providing that for us. They are our friends and we like them very much. Okay, so there's that. Also, I got a really interesting email that I'd like to share here. It says, it's weird. I've got a lot of Italian friends emerging in the world right now. The two people that I work with that own the company are guests tonight. And then Mark Luciani. I think I got that right. And the subject says bass. Says, hey, Knobs, first thing, you guys do a great job with the Guitar Knobs podcast. I discovered it over a year ago, and I'm still working through all the episodes. We encourage that. Please go back and check out all the awesome guests we have, but don't go like way to the first couple episodes. Just bypass that altogether.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, skip 1 through 12.
Yeah. I think that's when Tony made it on, so that's why he's saying that. He says, I love everything to do and anything to do with guitar, amps, pedals, music, and the people behind the products. So do we. I've learned so much listening to your podcast. Thank you. We love learning every single time on the show as well. He says, what I would like to ask is if you would consider doing more podcasts related to bass guitar. I've heard a few episodes that were bass related and or touched on basses, but I could use more. I think maybe one of our most prominent ones was Scero basses. Those things are so awesome. It makes me want to be a bass player. Man, oh my gosh.
He's right. We don't do bass that often. We should pop in some bass people here pretty soon.
And it's not a matter of like we don't want to. There's just, it's just one of those things. We're not as plugged in.
I really don't think there's that many bassists out there.
There's not that many. It doesn't seem like there's that many bass guitar makers on a level that are, I guess, maybe consumer level without getting like, I've got a 9-string, purple wood kind of thing,
I would say in the 10 years I've been doing this, I think I've probably gotten a total of, I would be surprised if it was 6 bass inquiries.
Yeah. Well, for actual bass,
there are guitar builders. There are guitar builders that also build basses too.
Yes, that's true.
Can we just talk about guitars and lower voices?
Well played, Tony. I like that. Anyway, so he says, I've heard a few episodes that were bass related and or touched on bass, but I could use more. There are a few bass related podcasts out there, but I have not found a single one that is nearly entertaining as educational as yours. Wow. Thank you very much. I did want to read that out loud because it, we like that. We really appreciate it.
I think maybe he just wanted you guys to start talking in bass your voices.
Yes. Yeah. That could be. I can do
That's
that.
Basso profondo.
Please do some more bass related content. I promise to become a grand poobah if you do.
I don't know what else he could have meant.
Yeah. But I like the promise of a grand poobah right there. Yeah. So anyways, thank you, Mark, for sending that in. And we're going to look into it. I think if we could get like 4 or 5 other people around the general vicinity of like what Scero is doing, that would be amazing. Otherwise, it's like huge manufacturers.
What was his name?
Mark Luciani.
Luciani.
Yeah.
Mark, I build basses, so don't be scared to check us out.
Hey-o. Yeah. There we go.
Well, I will tell you this. In my experience, bass players are a lot more open to unusual designs, unusual features, maybe more so than guitar players. So I think it's something that we should really take a good look at.
They're a little more open-minded.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So anyway, that's some announcement-y type stuff. We appreciate those emails. We love when people send them in. And so please, if you got some thoughts or you'd like to hear somebody or somebody like that we need to know about, we don't know everybody. We're constantly discovering new people. And a lot of it is because people say, hey, you should check these people out. So do that, will you? Jeez.
Just do it.
Yeah. All right. So let's motor on to what is going on in our music worlds this week. Tony Baloney is going to lead us off, and then we'll jump over to Louis. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. Well, I think it's a really cool project this past week, and I think what made it even better is it came out better than I expected. I posted something on Instagram too that shows the progress or the befores and afters, I guess you'd say. So I had a local customer, big Jack White fan, that actually bought a 1964 airline Rezo Glass. I think J.B. Hutton was the actual model. J.B. Hutton was apparently a player in the 60s that airline made this model for. And it's we call it the Jetson model, or now, of course, it's known as the Jack White model. So he bought this, and the pick guard that was on it was the original, but it's completely different than the one that's on Jack White's model. And apparently, as the story goes, Jack, when he bought his guitar, it came without a guard. So he had somebody make a guard for him that was really, pretty radically different from the original guard, but looks pretty cool. So my customer brought it in and said, I really want this to look like Jack's guitar. So I had to do a little bit of templating and, lined up a few things and cut one out. And I think in my eye, it looks almost dead on to the one that's on Jack White's guitar now. So I always like it when a project comes out better than I expected, and in this case, faster than I expected. Usually, it takes a try or two, but I nailed this one on the first time through, so I was very happy about that.
So when are you going to do one for Jack?
Hey, all he has to do is drop me a line. I'll take care of the. He was the drummer for Goober and the Peas way back in the day when I used to see him. So
Yeah.
Is he from your area?
he's from Detroit. So okay. Detroit's not terribly far. I'm originally from northeastern Ohio, and my wife went to school in Toledo. So Goober and the Peas played a lot in Toledo.
The Glass City.
Yes.
Is that really what it's called? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes. They make glass up there?
Owings Corning is up there.
That's how they say it up north. Owings Corning.
Owings Corning.
Yeah. I grew up close to Toledo,
yeah, that's right. So. You did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, over in Fremont.
That's a great story. Louis, how about yourself? What is going on in your music world this week?
Honestly, mostly just making the musical instruments. I don't have as much time as I would like to play and make the music like I used to. I guess luckily that's because I've been busy enough that I don't have time to. So most of my week usually just consists of making the stuff that somebody else is going to end up making good music with, hopefully.
Well,
or bad music.
That's not uncommon.
I wanted to take that as an insult, but it was too funny and possibly too true, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Great.
Oh, that's
Jared.
Oh, yes. So, something kind of odd happened to me this week as far as the pickup thing. A fella emailed me through the old Evil Bay and asked me for a left-handed wide-range pickup. And I emailed back and I said, the way the wide-range pickup is made also goes into left-handed guitars. And he said, yeah, but the holes, if no one here understands what they look like, when you look at it, there's 3 holes on the top row that are exposed. And then caddy corner will be the 3 holes on the bottom are exposed. So this gentleman thought that they were going to be switched, in which they are not made. They are not made that way. They don't make covers like that. They don't exist. And I said, so I explained him to that. I said, I'll just send you a regular one. And he said, okay. So time came for his thing to be built. I built his pickup, sent it to him, and 2 days later, I get a return notice. He said, yeah, this isn't set up for left-handed. I said, it's universal, my friend.
Wouldn't you just rotate it?
You can't rotate it. If you rotate it,
no,
the holes will be in the same place. Yeah.
Wouldn't you just flip it 180 degrees before you put it into the pickup ring or pickup?
No, it's the same thing. It's redundant because there's 6 magnets on each row, and there are only 3 that expose. Yeah. And the design that it is, if you rotate it, the holes will be in the same place.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it would work in a right or left-handed guitar regardless.
Regardless, it doesn't matter. If you made a left-handed one. Yeah. An actual left-handed stagger, if they existed, they would sound the exact same.
So what was it he was confused about?
That's what he was confused about. He thought that if the holes were staggered the opposite way, that it would sound different.
So that was just his mind messing
With
him.
his logic, then he may as well have spelled Fender backwards.
Yeah.
You know?
Couldn't you have just put the cover upside down?
No, because the holes end up in the same.
Okay.
He said that.
So the moral of the
there
story
we go.
the moral of the story is that those are
There are no left-handed.
Hey,
That
Jared,
they
you
are
s-
universal.
Left-handed guitar players should just hang it up because the pickups are the same.
Buy a junior, a double cutaway junior, and you're good.
Buy a Strat.
No, I even sent him a picture of a Fender custom left-handed with a normal pickup that the same one that I sent him. So yeah. So for everybody out there, please understand that the wide range pickup is the way it is, even for left-handed. That's the moral of the story.
okay.
Or you could spend a couple $1,000s and have left-handed covers made.
I have blank covers. I'll drill
that
the
makes
holes.
the most sense.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Excellent story, Jared. Thank you so much for sharing that. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's truly amazing.
It sounds like you're really excited about
I
it.
am. That's a good one. It's a good one that you had. Okay, so
it is hard to
how
tell
about
if
you,
he's being
Todd?
sarcastic or not.
Yeah.
I love it.
that's me. Well, last time we talked, I'm going to be the one who's doing a continuation thing, which I don't normally do, but I'm going to do for you guys. So we were talking about those Kurt Mangan strings, and Tony hooked me up with some because he's the dealer, and I put those on, and I was just absolutely blown away at how good they sounded. I am not an acoustic connoisseur, okay? I am not a great acoustic player. I like playing it, but I know that I'm just not as good at it. Okay, so I've always struggled with it. I don't know why. Maybe if I played it more, I wouldn't be so bad at it. But I do appreciate that it sounded so much better than the strings that I had on previously, which just sounded kind of dull and just fat and didn't have a lot of life to it. I think they were coated strings of some sort. I can't even remember the kind that I got because
You're not talking about your Epiphone, are you?
I'm talking about both of them, the Epiphone and the Art and Lutherie one.
Well, the Epiphone one you have sounds. It's the best sounding acoustic that I've heard, other than like Martin's or higher end
You should
guitars.
hear it now, dude.
For some reason, that guitar that you have it's magical. It just sounds so good.
I
It's
appreciate
so weird.
that. I
It's
know.
because there's another guitar player that lives inside the guitar.
That's not false. So here's the thing: those strings, they feel better. I don't know why. They just everything feels better, and the sound of it. I was so surprised at how much better they actually sounded. We have no affiliation with Kurt Mangan. We don't have it. Like I was just trying strings.
do.
I'm like, well, you do, but I'm the one telling the story. So, I stand to gain nothing by saying that, other than, hey, if you are checking out some new strings, and to be specific, these are the Monel strings, Monel, and the way that I got turned on to them, for those who maybe didn't hear, I won't do the long version, but Nick Greer and I were hanging out, and he had a from Greer Amplification. If you don't know that, check him out. Awesome stuff. And he started playing this acoustic, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? Guitar must be incredible. He's like, it's the strings, man. And he told me what they were, and I was like, well, holy crap, now I got to play those because it just sounded fantastic. So I was really, really happy with it. And it's the kind of, when you get something like whether it's a guitar or a pedal or something that is causing you to just not want to put the thing down, that's really a good sign. So
Cool.
I'm very happy with those. And I'm looking forward to putting the electric set on my Hagstrom Viking. Very curious to see what's going to happen. I'm going to do that this
Could
weekend.
you say the name again of those strings?
Kurt Mangan.
Mangan.
Curtmangan, and they're Monel strings,
already
Monel.
Kurt Mangan, sweet.
Yeah, and they're not bronze. Tony, can you mention what they are?
Yeah, so the Monel strings apparently are similar to strings that were available at the turn of the century. I mean, the very earliest steel strings were made from the Monel, which apparently is a steel derivative, or it's a form of steel. It's super hard. I think we get you we got the round cores, which again are similar to the early, the 1910s, 1920s.
I have some
strings.
math. Yes. 67% pure nickel, 30% copper, 3% magic juice that contains magnesium, zinc, and other elements.
Yes. Nice.
Making Monel resistant to salt water and sweat. How about that?
Well, there you have it.
What else do we need to say?
You can play it in the ocean.
Yeah, I guess so. I could, because it would probably sound better. Anyhow, cool. So that's really neato, and so that was a good little high spot in my guitar week. Just like this.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
Louis Scutti from Scero Guitars. Let's hear your 4 on the floor.
Well, the 4 on the floor would have to be the one pedal I just can't ever live without, because I would be too exposed as a bad player if I didn't have it. It would have to be a reverb pedal. And it's probably, I have a original 64 Fender Spring reverb tank. So I don't know if that's technically considered a pedal, but I do keep it on the floor.
Okay.
I have stepped on it before.
It's a big pedal.
That counts.
I think it actually has an input for a pedal to do something that I've never used.
Probably on and off.
But I actually also have, I don't really use that thing that much because I try and keep it from falling apart. But I have a Source Audio, what is it? I can't remember what it's called. Source Audio, is it the True Spring?
Source Audio True Spring.
Source Audio True Spring Reverb. I'm going to say that's what it is. I'm almost 90% positive.
You are correct, sir. Ding, 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 ding.
And like I said, that thing's been great. It honestly probably still has more knobs and depth and control than I need, but it's probably one of the closest sounding like spring reverbs to a true spring reverb tank I've ever heard.
Awesome. That's a new one for us.
What's that?
What you just said, the Source Audio True Spring. We haven't had that on the show before.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've fallen in love with it. It's even cool with the fact that you hook it up to your phone with a 1/8 jack cable, and you can use the app to upload new. I didn't even know a 1/8 cable could transfer that type of data. But you can use it to customize settings and stuff. After that would probably just be a very, very simple delay pedal. And honestly, one of my favorite ones, I'm not a digital guy, but is an analog style. And honestly, probably one of my favorite ones is that Carbon Copy Deluxe, just because it's simple and it has to have a tap on there. More so just whenever I'm playing with a drummer, I have to have a tap. Third, and this is going to sound super cliche, but I really do like Klon style pedals, because I've never... that probably more so depends on the amp that I'm playing through. Like I said, my main amp, I don't need any sort of gain pedal with that, just because it's got more than enough of that on tap.
What is it?
But
what is your?
It's an old Samson era Bad Cat Hot Cat 30.
Okay.
So if anybody on here or out there doesn't know, that Samson era stuff is, which I'm assuming most of you probably already know, but it's the Mark Sampson when he left Matchless and went and started Bad Cat. It's his like very early stuff, because it's really cool, because if you open it up, it actually has a ton of Matchless labeled parts in there. The capacitors, the resistors, I think even the transformers say Bad Cat on there. So that's how you know if you have an old Samson era one. They're just, I don't know. I'm pretty good buddies with John Thompson, the current owner, and I know they're making really good stuff now, but that Samson era stuff is kind of revered stuff for just how it was made, and the Celestian style speaker that's in there. It's supposed to be a lot different than the current one that's in there. And honestly, it's just probably the most well-rounded amp I've ever played. But whole point of that being is that's why I don't really run a gain pedal into there.
Right.
Fourth pedal, it would be the Sick As by Bondi FX.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's kind of in the Klon element, but that pedal is one of the most beautiful from, I would say it is kind of in the, I don't even want to say it's in the Klon realm. I think it does its own thing, but going from a beautiful clean boost to plenty of gain that I would ever need, that would probably be, I might even put that above the Klon style, is that Bondi FX Sick As. And then his Del Mar was amazing too.
Yeah.
But this isn't 5 on the floor. It's
No.
4 on the floor.
The Sick As is that's a fantastic sounding pedal. It's hard
That's
to
a Sick As pedal is what it is.
Yeah. Those are usually I always thought that they were really expensive, but they're not.
Well, if you bought them when they first came out, they weren't expensive. But now that he's kind of like, only making them every now and then, they've kind of turned into, whatever you want to call it, hard to get, expensive to get.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I'd love to try his delay pedal too. I've never the Art Van delay, which is the greatest name ever created.
I bet he's like, how has nobody used this before?
Oh, that was just, and it took me at least a month to get it. And I'm an avid Seinfeld fan, and it took me about a month of looking at that name before it finally clicked. I've never gotten to try it, but if it's anything like all his other stuff, I'll guarantee you it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, you guys can check out there's quite a few of them on Reverb and stuff, because they're coming from Australia. And
yeah, they are now. They were coming from, where was he when he was here? Oh, he was in, I want to say Tennessee or Michigan, something up there. But yeah, now they're coming all the way from down under.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the old ones are going for, about $450, $350 to $450. But the newer ones you can get pretty much a brand new one for about $259, which is still
really
about a third of the price of a Klon. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyways, cool, man. Well, thank you for sharing your 4 on the floor. It's one of our favorite segments of our podcast. And if you are interested in more 4 on the floors, people out there, and you're like, wow, this one was really cool, I'd like to hear more, you can hear them on the podcast. You can also go to our website, and we've got a page that is dedicated to the 4 on the floor. And if you scroll that page, you're going to see every one of your favorite builders and they have submitted their favorite 4 pedals. So I think we've clocked over 400 pedals at this point. So lots to see on there, people, just saying. All right. We want to give a big fat thanks to John Fintel, JONFINTEL. He's a recording engineer and music producer. He is fantastic at dialing in awesome guitar tones. He recorded my band. He's a friend of ours. He's been on the show. He lent a lot of great advice to us for as guitar players going into a recording session. What do we need to know? You can look at that in our archive on our website or on Spotify or wherever. So if you're planning to go record, that'd be a good one to listen to. Anyways, so he's been helping us out with our, keeping us afloat with a place to record when we weren't in COVID, bonanza, whatever.
Mode.
Yeah, COVID mode. COVID apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we'll be back there hopefully pretty soon, but he's a great guy and he understands guitars, and that's really important if you're going in to record. So if you have questions, if you want to submit your stuff or get it mastered or whatever, give him a holler. johnfintel.com at relayrecording.com. All right, we're going to move onward and upward. Well, at least onward, to learn more about Scero Guitars. Now, Mr. Man, Mr. Lewis, what is Scero? What is that? What is the word? Where does that come from?
Well, it's funny. It was a combination of my buddy and I's last names because we were supposed to go into it together. His last name was Lucero, and my last name being Scutti. So I just combined the two, being Scero, not realizing at the time that I kind of gave him more of his last name than I really did mine. I really probably should have pronounced it Scero, but I just never liked the way it sounded. And he never ended up really doing any of it with me. Well, he didn't do any of it with me, but we're still really, really good buddies. Nothing bad in those terms. So that's oddly where the name came from. And I had many people tell me to change it, but by the time I launched it and started selling guitars, I had already sold so many that it just didn't really seem all that wise to change it.
Right. Well, yeah. Once you got something that works, go for it. You have a pretty. It's very Italian-y on the like your models and stuff. I mean, you
that's exactly it. Like I said, I'm almost full-blooded Italian, so I just started coming up with Italian translations of stuff. If you did the actual translation, you probably realize they're not all that clever, but they sound pretty, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. So Tony, your Italian accent is awesome. There's one called the doppio. How would you say that in Italian?
Doppio.
Oh, sorry,
Tony.
No.
You do that
It goes
so well,
like
Tony.
this. No.
It's
Doppio.
Oh my goodness! Kidding. Just kidding. No, that is a doppio.
Yeah.
And
All right.
It's literally just Italian for double.
Oh, it's also Italian for strat. It looks like on here too. So, that's,
but no,
yeah.
no, that's it. It's it, but it's because a lot of people call the strat a double cut, and doppio is Italian for double.
Ah.
So I did make it's a Strat body with Telecaster appointments, and I did dub it the Stracciatelli.
I have one called the Alianza. I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks awesome.
I don't remember what that translates to, actually. I might look that up.
Confused?
You know what? Actually, you know what? Hold on. Actually, I think I remember it. I think it translates to eclectic.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it does look like that. That doesn't, you have some very familiar feeling looking guitars, but you've taken and you said, but what is my spin on these? So let's find out a little bit more about where you're coming from as a designer, as a luthier. What got you into doing all this?
Well, unemployment mostly. I had been unemployed for a couple years and unemployed and loving it. Not even gonna lie, but I fell into it just kind of oddly. My good friend, the one I had mentioned with the last name, took me over to his buddy's dad's workshop to jam one night, and as I was walking through there was all these just beautiful custom made guitars that you could just tell they were all one-offs and just beautifully made. And I had no idea where I was, and he told me, he's like, oh, it's my friend Jason's dad's shop. And I didn't think too much about it, and we spent the night jamming there, and I saw him again when we were walking out. And then a couple months later, I wanted to buy a guitar, and I was going to go buy a Paul Reed Smith guitar. And that same buddy told me, he's like, oh, you should check out Jason's dad's shop, who turned out his name was Ed Lynch. And I went down there, and I ended up buying a guitar from him because it was beautiful. I had never seen a custom-made guitar. I guess I was so naive that I didn't realize that human beings actually built guitars. So it was just awesome to see. And then I bought another one from him a couple months later, and I slowly just started pestering him, just wanting to watch him do it. And then probably about 6 months later, I asked him if he'd help me teach me to build one, and he's the nicest guy on planet Earth. He took the time over the course of like a month to help me build a Telecaster guitar, and I just fell in love with doing it. I really had no extensive woodworking history other than being forced to go with my dad on Saturdays to build fences and other boring crap when you're only 9 and 10 years old. But I literally just fell in love with it. And then probably like a year later, I told myself, I can do this for a living. Let's start selling these things. And probably the best and worst decision I ever made, because this was right around like 2009, I think. Yeah, 2009 when I started selling them. And I got so many orders right out the bat because I was selling them for way too cheap. But I also just wasn't flat out qualified to be building guitars.
Right.
I mean, I was using top-notch woods and hardware and pickups. Everything was top-notch, but I didn't have the resume to be building guitars. I didn't know how to properly set one up. And yeah, I almost totally ran out of business from a couple of bad gear page threads about me. And after that, I shut down my website, and I literally went back for like a year apprenticeship with who's now one of my best friends, Ed Lynch. Let me plug his guitars, EJ Lynch Guitars.
All right.
Because I wanted to keep doing it, but I couldn't continue to do it as I was because nobody would be buying anything from me anymore. And thank God it worked out for the best, because once I came back into it full steam, I at least more so knew what I was doing.
So people tend to work not on curves, but on steps. If you look at most people's like progression in their accomplishments, they go like, yeah, this is really hard. Oh, I'm going to hang out here because this is really easy now. And then something happens and they probably take a little dip and they go, crap, I got to do something different. And they work really hard and then they, plateau out a little bit. How was your sort of path to get to where you're at right now?
Honestly, just starting with the easiest guitar to build out of all. Well, when I started, I didn't make any of my own necks. I was buying in pre-made necks from USA Custom Guitars, which at the time I was using them. They were doing probably pretty much almost every single person out there who was selling guitars, whether they want to admit it or not, was using necks from USA Custom. There were very, very few people who were actually hand making necks, not on a CNC machine, not buying them from some pre-made place like that. So, that's how I started. I just made the bodies because that was the easiest thing to do. Kind of hard to mess up a body. It's still possible because I've done it before, but I just started out doing it that way and just slowly. And again, I probably messed up a couple times because I tried to start making necks sooner than I should have been. But that's probably the slow progression that I took, was just making my own bodies, buying in the necks, letting somebody who knew what they were doing make those properly, and just slowly start to learn how to make necks before I felt comfortable actually, offering that to customers. Because that actually turned it kind of odd. That actually turned into like an upgrade I was able to sell customers on was, do you want one that's pre-made that's going to be great for this price, or do you want to have the bragging rights of knowing that it was handmade from scratch for a little bit extra?
Yeah. I think that's not uncommon with a lot of builders right now. There's sort of the premium level, and then some more affordable approach, which I think a lot of builders kind of struggle with. I know Chase Gullett and I have talked about this at length, and from a player's perspective, or someone who wants to buy more guitars or collect guitars, or wants something that is like, hey, I really like what this person's doing, but I don't have the X amount of dollars to get the thing that he's really known for, but I can get into his brand at a lower level, and that's usually a pretty great way to do it as well. So it doesn't mean that your guitars are lesser. It just means you're allowing somebody else to get into your brand and hopefully get one of those top level ones at some point.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people recommend doing that to me because they thought it bring in more business, and kind of pretty much doing what you said, which anybody that decides to do that more power to them. It's just with me, it doesn't, you said, for a lesser price, somebody can get into one of your guitars. That with my mindset, it doesn't feel like one of my guitars if somebody else is doing stuff for me.
Right. Well, that's where the struggle comes in. That's where the builders struggle. Yeah.
I call it stubbornness or whatever. I don't know why I've never been able to wrap my head around doing that, even when it probably seems financially more feasible.
Right.
Not sure if that was the right word, but maybe you could edit that out.
No, that's all good. I mean, we're literally having that same discussion that I've had with not only Chase but a couple other builders, and it's weird because I don't know that there's a middle ground to stand on because, again, from my perspective, I'm not viewing it as lesser, but from a builder's perspective, they possibly can be, like yourself. It's like, I don't want to have something with my name on there, but then the person who wants to buy it is like, yeah, but I don't care, just I want it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's wherever you land in the middle of that is totally up to you, but it's
and I can't say that I've never done that for buddies, before, just, getting them a neck for cheap from one of my places that sell, I buy parts from places that also sell necks, so I'll get them a neck for cheap and maybe a body for cheap or something like that, and I'll finish it for them and all that, but I won't put my name on it just because, again, pride or stubbornness, whatever you want to call it, but
you can put my name on it. That's fine.
That's what I'm going to start doing.
Well, cool. Now,
Next by Todd.
So one of the things that I really do appreciate about the guitars, if you go to ceroguitars.co, that's .co, one of the first ones you'll see up there is the Taglio, which is, did I say that right?
Yeah, close. I think you did.
Taglio. Yeah. Taglio. Jared?
Taglio.
All right. It sounds like the old grandma from...
I don't think that was any better, guys.
No, it sounds like the grandma from Super Chicken.
I am terrible.
Yeah.
That one that you're talking about on that front page is actually one that's was custom made for Josh Smith. He's a phenomenal blues player over in L.A. In that Joe Bonamassa, Kirk Fletcher type genre, and he's good buddies with those guys, just as equally talented. But that guitar is actually a replica of Cornell Dupree's guitar, which I had never heard of before, but now I'm a big fan of since talking to Josh. If anybody out there looks up Cornell Dupree Telecaster, hopefully they'll see that mine looks, I hopefully think, pretty dang close to what Cornell's was. His was a super early 70s Telecaster that he yanked the pickguard off of. He put these little metal tacks in there in this screw hole place, and then had that bottom plate added. That's actually,
they look like upholstery tacks. Is that what those are?
Yeah, pretty much, and that's what he used on his. And then he had somebody route and put a de-Armand pickup right in the middle of it, which that's all those pickups are wound by Ron Ellis for that guitar. And then down at the bottom is a little plate from a what is it? It's a Fender.
It's like an Esquire or something.
It's from a bass.
Telecaster bass, yeah.
It's from a T-bass, yeah.
Okay.
And literally all that switch does is adds the middle pickup in wherever. I keep thinking that these people are looking at this guitar, so go and look at this guitar so you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But so that's who that guitar was built for.
Yeah. Well, I think if we boil it down, there you got mix matched pickups, you've got unconventional like hardware additions, and those things, when you start to look at some of your other models, it's prevalent across them, but it's not so much to look like jalopy kind of guitar. You're just, you're doing it in tasteful places. And I think that gives it like a really cool look, especially like the Tono. The Tono N Cape 2 is like, man, that thing looks wicked.
That one took me a while to get what I was comfortable with, but I've been pretty happy with that one.
It's a really interesting shape. It looks familiar, but then when you look at it, you're like, nope, this is different. This isn't just what I think it is. I think that's an outstanding looking guitar. And what we're looking at right now, everybody, is you got all the metal, it's slightly aged, but it's not overly done, and he's got 2 giant soap bar Jazzmaster pickups in there, which is awesome.
That one that you're talking about, that was actually the very first one I did, and probably just one of the best sounding jazz. You know, it's funny because I don't think a lot of people realize that it's got that anodized. It's not even anodized. It's just a 6061 aluminum pick guard. But I don't think a lot of people realize those Jazzmasters have such big pick guards on them. People don't really realize, especially with, like I said, that style guitar, because those pick guards are so big. Those are huge chunks of plastic you're putting on there, which, if you've never really realized, plastic doesn't ring that well. You knock on a piece of plastic, a pickguard sheet, it's dead in a half a second. You knock on a big old piece of, you know, 0.06 aluminum, and that thing just rings forever. It's actually crazy how much that big aluminum pickguard on that thing, and probably even like a Strat, Telly, probably not going to notice as much, but it actually helps with resonance and sustain because it doesn't have that big hunk of plastic pushing against it that's just killing all that sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that.
Anytime when you can kind of put like just enough of a like, wait, that's different, and it actually works, and it works really well, that's hard to do, especially with familiar designs that we've seen for, 80 years.
Yeah, no, I am by no means saying that I've done it well, but I respect a lot of guys out there that have been able to take those classic designs and turn it into their own flavor, so much so that you want to go with theirs over the original style, like I said. So yeah, I appreciate that, and I got a lot of respect out there for other guys that have been able to do that. Probably one of the hardest ones to do that with was that my Laverato model, which is my take on a 1959 Les Paul.
Right.
Which, like I said, there's guys out there that have done, Tom Bartlett, he's got his retrospec. My buddy Ian Anderson, he's got his standard design. Johan Gustafsson, he's got his Blues Master. And then my buddy Ed Lynch I have the very first version of his 59 inspired. They're just, all those guys have done like a beautiful job of taking that iconic Holy Grail guitar, but turning it into their own design. And that's what I tried to do with that Laverato design. And I've actually got a slight tweak to it that I'm going to be coming out with in the next couple of months once I find time to work on just that. But yeah, no, to kind of wrap up what you said, like I said, it's not, I do not consider myself artistic or creative. So if somebody sees one of my original designs that they think is cool, kind of like you've been saying, chances are that was my 30th or 40th rendition.
Sure. Well, I am a self-professed non-Strat fan. Okay. Me and the Strat are not friends, but I'm looking at your the Doppio, Jared. So many people have tried to say, well, I'm going to do a version of a Strat. And you just go like, that's...
I don't think that's really possible to... I mean, what did the company that turned the Strat around and traced it and the Strat body, Tony?
Mo's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, what my point is, I think that's one of the more successful attempts that I'm looking at right now. Especially when you have that MK2, which I don't know. To me, that's really cool.
Different.
It's different enough to make me say, okay, that I can get into. Because I'm not a Strat guy. But
that's actually that one was probably, in even the ones that are on my website are actually like the first versions of me trying to do that, which I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of right now. I think if people saw like the more recent version I've done of that, the ones that are on the website, a little too pointy. They came off as a little too Ibanez, shredder guitar. But like I said, that one's been pretty stinking hard to come up with a sleek design, because that double cut shape has just been redone so many times.
Right.
That it's really hard to find that new
Well, you kind of shifted the hip on it too a little bit, and it almost looks like an offset. It's like
it is slightly
I think
off,
it's
like 10
freaking awesome.
Well, I appreciate that.
So,
do you mind if I ask why you've never been a huge Strat guy?
you know, it's the way that they sit. I don't like the way that they sit on me. I don't like how the knobs are so close to my playing hand because I play
They're not
rhythms.
as comfortable as a guitar.
No,
They're just flat out not as comfortable.
If I was, doing the wheelie bits and stuff, I could probably get into that because the switches are right there, but my hands are moving too much. And there's nothing about a Strat that I like. I'm sorry. If you have a Strat, I love that you love your Strat. I just don't like them personally.
You don't even like the neck pickup sound?
I don't like any of it. But that's just me. That's just me. That's just me. Yeah. And I'm not Mr. Blues guy either. I'm not really like into the blues. So
I don't even own a Strat myself, honestly, and it's not but they're out of all of them, it probably is down 4th or 5th on my list.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. One of my favorite Strat sounds of all time is Yellow Ledbetter, Pearl Jam. I mean, that sound is awesome.
I think totally, yeah. I think they do tend to be a little weak in the bridge pickup area.
Absolutely, and I can't stand that.
Ways people have tried to fix that by putting the Telly style steel plate on the bottom to give it more.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
One of the biggest things I feel like that helped is like on my Allianz. Well, I feel like if everyone checked out the Allianza, they would probably come to find out that it's the accumulation, whatever that word's supposed to. Culmination. It's just the best of both worlds. Like I said, it's literally. I don't think you got to look at it from the right angle, but it's a true. Even Fender has tried to do it, and they didn't do a very good job at it, which is sad because they're the ones that came up with the guitar.
The double cut Telecaster, you mean? But
yeah. But if you go and look at my Allianza, it is actually a 100% true half and half.
Yeah.
Tele and Stratocaster. Right, if you look at it right down the middle of the guitar, the top half is 100% Strat down to the forearm contour, the belly contour, the half-inch radius around the top. But then once you go right below the Strat button, it turns into 100% Tele with the radius, and then the shape is Strat on the top, Tele on the bottom. But it's got a Strat neck pickup, which besides Todd, I think everybody loves. I'm just kidding. And then it's got a Tele bridge pickup, which is for in the single core world, probably one of the most popular. But then the bridge, and my buddy Mark Rudders, who makes the best. If everybody's looking for hardware, they need to go check out Mark Rudders because he hand makes all the hardware himself in his shop, and it's second to none. But it's his steel block tremolo. And
that thing looks awesome
with Telecaster saddles on there, and you would be surprised how much. Now, granted, it does also have a Tele bridge pickup in there, but I've done that setup on one that had a Strat bridge pickup, and you'd be surprised how much those Tele saddles help the bridge position sound of a Strat.
My question is, have you tried one of these guitars with an actual Tele bridge that surrounds that Tele pickup? And have you compared that to what you have here, which is without that steel that's surrounding that pickup?
You mean like how the one in the Allianza that's I have like on the site and stuff where the pickup's mounted in the pick guard still?
Exactly.
I haven't. So essentially, you're saying no, but and I'm definitely not going to say that a Tele pickup is always going to sound best when it's surrounded by steel in its natural habitat. The cool thing though, the thing that I was shooting for though is putting that Tele bridge pickup in that guitar, still floating in a pick guard, still gave it a ton of Tele bridge character, which I don't think not too many people are going to complain about or say that, a Tele bridge pickup doesn't sound worlds better than a Strat one. But having still the ability to have a tremolo, which, a lot of guys like, but then having the Telecaster saddles on there, it That guitar that I've made several of them, but that one being the most recent one that's on the homepage of my site is probably just the most absolute well-rounded sounding guitar I've ever played. You've just got the best of every world. I even route it with a middle pickup slot underneath. So if somebody later on wants to add a middle pickup, whether that be, ideally I feel like it'd probably be a Strat pickup, but then once you start getting into 3 pickups, you've also, like Jared obviously knows too, you're starting to get into a lot of magnetic pull, which, I feel like that's kind of another big reason why Strats just don't sound as good as Tellys, in my opinion, is just that amount of magnetic pull you have on those strings. That's why a good old classic Esquire will just roar like a beast, because that one pickup gets full access to all the sound those strings are making.
Right.
Yeah.
Full oscillation without any pull from anywhere else.
Exactly.
That's cool. Well,
Beautiful.
Yeah, great looking guitars, man. Hope we are able to connect at some point in time, and maybe we can, maybe we'll see you at one of the shows or something. We can actually handle them, which is one of the, there's so many awesome builders and so many that we have to catch up with, and it's a privilege getting to know another builder out there that is doing something that is, I think interesting and can provide somebody like the dream guitar that they want and the tone that they've been craving,
Yeah, like I said, I appreciate that a ton. So like I said, it's been awesome to talk to you guys too. And like I said, I always love talking guitars and gear. So
yeah, well, we do too.
Came to the right place.
Yes. So with that, we're going to. Actually, let me ask you just really quick: is there any kind of new earth-shattering thing that you're working on that you want to share?
I would love to say that there is on. Well, that's actually not true. I'm actually in the process of building my very first true 335 style guitar, which I've never done. I've done one other guitar that looked like a 335, but it wasn't true spec. It had a hollowed out core with a carved top and back and front. But I'm actually in the middle of doing the first prototype of my first true 335 with the arch top and the laminated maple sides and the matching back. So this is going to be a true like 335 style guitar that I'm hoping to have out sometime before the end of summer.
Wow. Awesome. Well, make sure you keep us posted on that. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. No name yet, but it'll probably be whatever 335 translates into Italian. Trace.
The closest thing you have on there, which is still an outstanding looking guitar, is the Cavo.
Yeah, that's that, and that one's still, that one comes in like 2 variations. You can get flat top and back, or you can get a carved version. So that one's still not true 335 style, more just a very, very nice hollow body.
Well, what's interesting about that one is you have a mastery bridge on it, which you don't often see in that kind of a guitar. It looks pretty cool, people.
Yeah, I don't know what made me do that in the first one. It sounded great, honestly.
And it's different. It doesn't look like other ones, which is cool.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to visit our buddy Jared. Jared Brandon.
That's a me. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time in this podcast that you are listening to, and I'm right about that, for our segment called Would You Rather? All right.
Beautiful.
Thank you. This Would You Rather is from our good old buddy, Brian Robinson, who is also an executive producer. And good old Tony Baloney will let you know how you can become one later on. But now, let's get back to the thing here. Lately, you've found yourself auditioning pedals at home since you can't go to the music store and try them in person, right? Because it's COVID time. It sucks. And luckily, your favorite music store has a generous return policy. So you've narrowed down your pedals to 2 boutique options, but you can only keep one of them because it's Would You Rather. They're both the same type of pedal and the same price, around $300. But one of them is the best at what it does. it's obvious on the first click that this is the best pedal you've ever had. The other pedal can get pretty close to the sound of the first one, and it's got some extra features that you really find useful. So it's got more bells and whistles, more thises and that's. So when you A-B the pedals against each other, the first one is clearly the superior sounding pedal, the one without all the bells and whistles. You're torn because you really love the extra features on the second, but you know it won't ever sound as good as the first one. Would you rather have the one that sounds super awesome or the one with the extra features?
Oh, man. This one, I think he was just totally torpedoing me on this one because I suffer from this. I honestly, this is my worst nightmare. And this, just so you know, this goes all the way back to when I'm 6 years old at the liquor store, which is not actually liquor in California. They're all called liquor stores. They're not corner stores. Everything's a liquor store.
That explains a lot.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Can we have a little bit more backstory on that?
Yeah, they're just all. That's where you go. You go down and you get some candy. You ride your bike and you get the candy at the liquor store.
You get your licorice.
Right.
Licorice store.
Anyways, but sitting there and you're like, we all know how great a Hershey bar is, or like a Snicker bar, right? But as a kid, so like that's going to be good. But as a kid, I'm looking at it.
Frozen Milky Way.
Shut it. Or you go down there and you say, I'm going to get a licorice rope because it's like 4 feet long. Or I want the marathon bar because it's long, it's bigger. The idea of having more almost always outweighs having good.
You're talking about quantity versus quality.
So that's always been a struggle with me. So anyways, all right, let's hear from Tony. Then we'll go to Jared and then on to Louis.
I think I'm going to go with either the frozen Milky Way or the $100,000
I think you'll
bar.
go with both of them if we're all being honest.
For as long as I've been playing, I've owned many amps, guitars, pedals that do one thing really well. And to me, if that is, whether it's the sound you're going for, the effect you're going for, that to me is worth the price of admission. The extra bells and whistles, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to use them anyhow.
Amen.
So yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to whether it's an amp or a guitar or a pedal. I just like if it does something really well right out of the box without having to tweak it a whole heck of a lot. That's for me. So I am going with that with a frozen Milky Way.
Perfect. Jared.
Yeah, I'll take the ice cream Snicker bar over anything else.
You guys
Those are the best.
Gonna really go with this, aren't you? Okay.
The absolute best, man. Frozen Snicker bar, ice cream bar, yeah. No, this is a little more tougher than I expected because I like playing with the bells and whistles. I really do. But if I know that there is a pedal that's just gonna do the one thing, super, super awesomely well, then I'm just gonna have to go with that. Because at the end of the day, the tone matters.
Mm-hmm.
The tone matters, and if that's what it is, that's what it is. I gotta have that one tone.
All right. Louis?
Well, being a fellow alcoholic at the age of 6 years old, like Todd was, I'm going to have to go with no. I think hands down, it's whatever the one that does it better. I do not like bells and whistles or pedals that try and do so many things. That's why I can't get into multi-effect pedals or Kemper amps or they're fun, but the fact that I know that they're really trying hard to do so many things well, but I don't know, to me, just never really perfected any one of them. I would much rather just have one that does it right and have multiple of everything else that does that one thing right.
How about you, Todd?
Well, I have to say that if I'm being perfectly honest, I will also do that. I've had this conversation many times with a couple builder friends, and it's just been one of those situations where I'm like, I don't necessarily want all the extra stuff. The trick is that there are things that I want that could potentially be considered extra stuff, but that is why I would be getting the pedal. So that might count as that's what I want it to do, and it's not
that
extra.
Sounds so selfish, Todd.
So I'm gonna go with like it does the thing right. I'm gonna go with that too.
Yay,
All
it's
right.
unanimous.
That's the first that we really haven't had too many of those. All right. We're going to just jump over to Tony, and he's going to help us thank a handful of people, and then we'll be out skis.
A handful?
Oh, more than a handful.
At this point in the show, there's a very special group of people that we like to thank that help make this possible. The podcast I'm referring to, of course. Mm-hmm. We like to call them our executive producers. And someone might be wondering, well, why do they call them that? And how do I become one? I want you to go over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Once you're there, you'll see a couple of different ways in which you can participate, and each level has, oh my God, just great things. Things like stickers and barefoot buttons and t-shirts and
keychains and picks.
Keychains and picks and
all kinds of stuff.
Whoa, did you say giveaways, Todd? Yes, giveaways.
Absolutely did. We just gave away a couple of awesome pedals.
But the top of the heap is the executive producer level, because in addition to all that great stuff, there's one very special thing that happens. And Jared,
right.
What is that?
Get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Special thanks to some of these. I've been saying these names for so long, I actually don't need the list anymore.
I know.
As this is great, and we appreciate that. And that's I mean, to me,
they're our family. You know,
yeah, they are
part
like
of the family.
They're friends and family. So special thanks to Mr. Tom Barazin, Martin Cliff, John Daly, Chris Carney, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Michael Van Zant, Ken Zayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Johnny Knowles, Anthony Lanthrop, John Anglin, Tyler Bray, Brad Partridge, Chris Heidel, John Esterly, Tim Nowak, Doug Gann, Justin Jones, Brett Alexander, James White, Matt Hart, Liam Martin, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Steve Keys. Oh, yes. And how about Richard Kendall?
Yes.
Oh, but wait.
Yes.
I think there is just a hair above that. There's a group that we
That's
like to
right.
call our Grand Poobahs.
Yes, we do.
And if we were
what that
Disneyland,
is.
these would be the people that get to go into Club 33. Anybody knows that? They
That's
know.
right.
All right.
Club 33.
Clever. So our Grand Poobahs are our fez-wearing brethren. A big tip of the fez to them. Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Cody Lane, Cody Foster, Sean S., Tommy Manasco, and Mark Garton.
Yes.
And Mark, keep an eye on your mailbox because there's something very special coming to you.
Correctamundo. You got some.
Stimulus check.
It's the next best thing.
It
past the
is.
stimulus.
It is a stimulus check of sorts. Yes. Anyways, yeah. Thank you guys so very much. Truly, truly appreciate it. We love saying your names. We love communicating with you. So thank you. Everybody needs to go and check out Louis's guitars here at Scero Guitars, SCERO guitars.co. All right.
Yeah, and that's my user tag for pretty much all the social media. The website actually might be that's where you can get pricing and stuff, but the website actually might be the most behind with the latest stuff I've made and all that. But yeah, the Scero Guitars is for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, MySpace. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a I don't have a MySpace, but now I feel like I should.
How about your AOL website?
Yeah.
If you go and look for me on, we're all over Ask Jeeves.
Your Instagram is really great.
Thank you.
So make sure people go check out the Instagram, especially. What do I see there? What do I see? A little double cut action. Hello, that's like, man, that's outstanding. I love that. I really like a proper double cut like that.
Oh, that's the dog hair one.
With the dog hair, yeah.
Yeah, that's and the real dog as an example.
I know, outstanding.
I'm kind of partial to the anodized aluminum guards.
Yeah.
Yeah, those should be back in the next week or so from anodizing. Those are getting anodized at a place up in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That's not an easy thing to do, as we understand.
No,
so.
I tried. I searched it one time, and I felt like somehow my mind was starting to like wrap around putting a blow dryer in a bathtub. That somehow did it.
Yeah.
And it didn't work, guys.
Well, and the weird thing is, I mean, I grew up doing BMX and stuff, and everything was anodized. Everything was anodized.
Amen. So did I. Yeah.
So how is there not anodized anymore? I don't understand. Anyways, it's not for me to understand.
I grew up with BMX too, and I totally forgot that I knew I had heard that word before. And it used to be tons of BMX stuff.
Yeah. That's what the word is, anodized. And we were like, ooh, I need that anodized stuff.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
Blow dryer in a bathtub.
Right.
That's right.
So make sure you check out his stuff. Tony, where can people find your stuff?
Let's just say you need a special guard, or you're changing out pickups, or who knows what you need. I do. That's me. Go to pickguardian.com and just check out some of the things that I have available for sale there. A lot of what I do is not listed on the website, so if it's something special or you don't see it,
Special materials.
Special materials. But shoot me an email. Let me know what you need. I will give you pricing. We can talk about any other features. But go over to pickguardian.com. If you want to check out some of the special projects, I usually list those over on Instagram at pickguardian and the number 1.
Cool. Jared?
Well, if anybody needs some new pickups that look old to match your old guitar, whatever you need, give me an email and we'll talk about it and we'll get it going for you.
Yes.
And look at my cool stuff on Instagram too. I'm always posting weird stuff that I don't have on my website on Instagram. So go to the website and go to Instagram and see all sorts of fun stuff.
Go to both because they sound great. Great sounding pickups.
Thank you.
You can shoot me a mail, Todd@theguitarknobs.com. You can also DM me on Instagram @guitarknobs. We would love to hear what you're doing in your guitar world. We'd love to hear if you guys can send us some would you rathers. We love getting those. And just generally just share what you're all about. That's cool, man. Louis, thank you so much for joining our show tonight. It was a pleasure having you on. And I hope people really get into what you're doing.
I appreciate it too, man. Honestly, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
You bet.
Yeah, it was great.
You bet. All right, everybody. Have a great guitar week and subscribe.
Yeah.
All right, shut it. Wow, seriously. All right.
That was worth holding out for.
Oh boy.
I farted in my car today and I thought the paint was going to come off.
You have
2
a pretty
handfuls.
big hand. Is that a fact?
That's you, Louis.
It is me.
And gentlemen, anything from you guys?
I don't think so.
What time do we start?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, nice. Thanks. Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.